Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week we're talking about the importance of and value of spending time on your own, especially early in recovery. I'm on my own right now and it's pitch dark, I can't see where I'm walking, and I imagine the dogs are here somewhere, but I can't actually be sure if I stare into the gloom. Anyway, in a rare evening recording, I enjoy a masala chai while we discuss fake parades, how to stack the dishwasher, whether it's okay to hide from carol singers, and shopping from the comfort of your own bed. Living alone. Dogs, where are you?
Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can. It looks quite dark where you've got very subtle lighting going on.
Oh yeah, do you want me to turn another lamp on?
No, I'm happy like it is.
I know you like to be able to see me properly.
Well, no, it's just that it looked a bit ghostly.
Well, that's right. It's kind of the time of year, isn't it? It's slightly inclement outside. It's the sort of evening where it's nice to be inside, tucked up and cosy in front of a roaring fire.
It's foul out there, isn't it?
With a nice cup of something.
Bovril. I expect you're having, honey?
No. No, I'm not having Bovril. What do you think I might be having? What kind of tea?
Probably Earl Grey, something like that.
It's not. It's a nice chai masala, actually.
Lovely. You can't go wrong with that.
Do you, I put black pepper in mine. Do you put black pepper in yours?
Of course not. No.
That's what they do up at Borough Market, where you get it from the proper pucker tea man.
I have bought some from there before, but no, I don't put any additives.
Milk, black pepper, grated ginger and honey.
That's going a bit far, but it sounds all right.
Yeah, well, I'll make you a cup next time you come round.
It does sound like a proper winter brew.
Anyway,
Monday night we're recording this. That's a little bit out of kilter.
Yeah, it's a disgrace mucking things up, presumably just because you've been working.
I did do an extra shift, yeah, to help out, as you do.
Well, I was speaking to one of our listeners, and they were complaining at our fortnightly episodes now and missing the weekly episodes, and I said it was entirely your fault.
It is really. I do take the blame, and I've had similar feedback. But we'll get back to weekly at some point. I'm just going through a bit of a hiatus at the moment.
This particular person I was talking to worried that it might put pressure on you if I passed that complaint on, and I said I didn't mind putting pressure on you.
No, you don't, and I respond accordingly. It landed okay with me.
I said it's good character building stuff.
It is. As is, right? As is, living on your own. Which is what I wanted to talk about this week. Not much of a segue there, but I thought I'd take the opportunity. The reason I was looking at this is because we constantly remind people in early recovery about the extreme dangers of entering into a new relationship. Because I've seen
cohabitation.
Yes, and just in any sort of relationship that's going to cause any sort of emotional investment in the other person. It just the lapse ratio, it just skyrockets when it happens. And we always talk to people about this in early recovery and say don't get into new relationships because of the dangers. But we never really look from the other side of what the benefits are of being on your own anyway. Now, which is why I wanted to sort of construct an episode just on that.
Okay.
If that's all right with you, does that sound all right?
That sounds fine. I'm completely open to that as a concept.
Okay, yes. I mean, you and I, we both live on our own, so we can speak from the heart on this.
Exactly.
It's not just research, although I did do a bit of research to see how other people view this. But before we start, there was just a little story that I've only come across recently. It made me chuckle. It's not rip-roaringly funny, but it was originally came out a few weeks ago, where hundreds of people gathered in Dublin for a Halloween parade.
Yeah.
Okay. Only to find out it was a prank posted on a fake website promoting the event in O'Connell Street.
So loads of people turned up and there wasn't a parade?
No, there wasn't a parade at all, but unfortunately the infrastructure wasn't ready for it, so all the buses and trams couldn't get through. There was through the throng, and the police were called when scuffles broke out. So.
Well, people were scuffling because there wasn't a parade that they were expecting.
Yeah, didn't like it. They were paradeless.
Yeah, I mean, how would you feel about that if you turned up to a parade and there wasn't one?
I would think it was quite funny.
I don't know if I'd be moved to scuffle.
No, or moved to listen to skiffle.
No.
Either way, I would. No, I think it's a great prank. I think.
It's there, yeah. I mean, that's sort of, you moved another level on from Knockdown Ginger there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Getting loads of people to gather together for no apparent reason.
I hope the person that did the prank was looking on.
I was just the thing that's tickling me is imagining people standing there and sort of peering up the road, waiting for the first float to appear.
There's just normal cars and buses and stuff. Yeah.
It reminds me of do you remember the Maidstone Carnival when we were kids?
Fondly, yes.
Yeah. When it changed, the route changed at some point, but I remember when I was very young, it used to come past our house.
Did it? Yeah. Long Holland Road? You did it one time?
That was spectacular because...
Yeah, I remember that.
That's one of those sort of... It was the closest I ever got to one of those things you see sometimes on television where there's an FA Cup game and people are hanging out of bedroom windows of the houses overlooking the ground. And although it wasn't quite the same, looking at the sort of Lewes Scout troop with their floats.
East Malling Beauty Queen. It was. I mean, the carnivals were quite huge, though, weren't they? All the local companies invested and put a float on.
Yeah, they were, and they used to sort of chuck sweets and stuff off the floats, didn't they, at you?
They did, which was lovely, wasn't it?
You wouldn't be allowed to do it now because of health and safety, would you?
No, you wouldn't want a fruit gum in the corner of your eye, would you?
No, that's it. They'd be telling you can't throw fruit salads at people because you might do someone a nasty mischief. Yes. Gone by off. I think they still do the carnival from time to time, don't they?
Do they? On a very limited basis, as I understand it. But anyway,
right.
Should we get onto the subject matter about the benefits of living on your own?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Well, I've got several points here, and I'm sure you better join in here because the research I was doing was people who live on their own happily. They tend to, and this is important in recovery as well, they treat their space as their sanctuary. So we do go on about that quite a lot. Don't have people round bringing drinks round, even if they normally drink or whatever. Don't. It's your sanctuary. You should keep it safe, and you don't. You should treat it as such.
Now, let me ask you something on this point.
Yes.
And I'm imagining this is true of people early on in recovery, in particular. But I had a conversation with someone not so long ago regarding this very point, allowing other people into your house with alcohol or drinking. And one of the things, and I've heard it before, other people have said it to me before, that there is a feeling, particularly with people when they're early in recovery, they feel kind of guilty about upsetting other people's evening enjoyment, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of inviting people round and then asking them not to drink, is that something that you've seen often?
I've seen that conundrum. Yeah, and we often advise, don't host anything at the moment. Don't invite people around, especially if they're bringing drink, because you will feel that potential guilt if you're asking them not to drink at all. Although you'd like to think your close friends and family would honour that if they're coming round.
Yeah, it always seems to me though, if you've made a decision to stop drinking, to go into sobriety, then that's a decision you made for your life.
Yes.
You said, I'm not having another drink again ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too much to ask your friends to avoid drinking for one night if they're coming round. It doesn't really, that doesn't seem like a lot to ask for someone who cares about you. Does it?
Exactly. It's not a lot to ask. And if they can't manage it, then probably they've got a problem themselves. They can't just manage the one night.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
So it is an important one. So treating it as a sanctuary is very important. Now, the second point was needing the quiet to be able to give you to enable you to focus deeply. It says here. So
that's probably one of the reasons why people don't want to live on their own, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, because I completely agree with that. That is necessary to have kind of space, quiet, solitude to reflect on how you're feeling and to think deeply about stuff. But I imagine, particularly early in recovery, that's one of the things that people most want to avoid, having to do that.
They do. Being alone with your demons. They always say an addict on his own is in very bad company. It comes in later on in your recovery, really, where loneliness is replaced by solitude, and you feel comfortable enough to live on your own and to have that the ability to concentrate on what you want to do.
Yeah. I don't know whether you want to come on to this, but because you just mentioned loneliness, I think there's an interesting, sometimes people are worried, aren't they, about feeling lonely?
Yeah.
And there's it's understandable if being on your own makes you feel lonely consistently. But actually, there's nothing wrong with occasionally feeling lonely if you're on your own, is there? In the same way as if you're not on your own, if you're living with someone else, occasionally you wish you were on your own, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
There isn't a necessity to feel consistently and constantly every day satisfied with exactly how you are. It's okay sometimes to tolerate a little bit of emotional discomfort that is coming from your circumstances. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'd agree. But I think that solitude sometimes can, and you'd probably relate to this, whilst, socialising can be fun.
I don't relate to that.
Well, you relate to the fact that sometimes that solitude enables you to recharge if you have been out.
Yeah.
You know what it's like if you've been out out late, for example, and you come home
about 7:30.
Yeah, well, that sort of time. Yeah. But the next day, if you've done a midnight or a 1 o'clock hour, you want the next day on your own, where you can recharge, can't you?
I've often said, I think I've probably said it to you, that one of the things that I like most about going out is that it makes coming home feel really nice.
You like that, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do go out. I know we laugh about it and joke about it, but when I do go out, it feels like there's a really that's a really pleasant combination. I get to go out, do something enjoyable, and then it makes the coming home. Like that feeling that people get after they've been on holiday.
Yeah.
People sometimes say, after I've been on holiday, it's really nice coming home. Well, I get that after going out for a couple of hours.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. If I go out and watch a band, and you come home and all of a sudden it's silent and there's something rather nice and tranquil about it.
Exactly.
And you can recharge yourself. That's a big point about it. I think it's it's enjoyable, isn't it? It does round it off. But it's having balance. That balance we're getting to, isn't it?
It is, and you also mentioned there that sort of the silence. So there's a big contrast, as you say, if you go out to see a band and you come in and it's all quiet. But I don't know what you found, but I feel. I think over the years I felt increasingly comfortable and happy in silence. And I think that's another state that probably people are, it's not just people in recovery. I think generally people find it quite difficult not to have sound around them. I quite like it.
I quite like, perhaps it comes with age as well, but you know people that say, I just have the telly on in the background for company. I don't tend to do that. I must admit, I'll turn it on to watch something and then turn it off. You can have nothing. I like to have a bit of music on, but often I'll sit with nothing. I'm all right with that, especially if I'm reading. That needs to have silence, I feel.
Oh, yeah, God, I can't have any sound if I'm reading. That's a disgraceful idea, people who can read with background music. I mean, they're clearly psychopaths.
Well, you are. That's kind of a bit hard, but I understand where the point you're illustrating. But it leads on to that next point I've got down here about unnecessary distractions. Yeah. If you can set your own agenda on that. So if you do want to sit and read a book, if you're on your own, that's fine. And there aren't anything else going on. There aren't any other noises, or you can concentrate. Well, you get calls upon your time, don't you? And sometimes unexpected demands upon your time. That kind of operates at two levels, don't you? Because as you say, sometimes you'll get
calls upon your time that are unexpected or unplanned or not within your control. But even outside of that, there's work to be done within ourselves to avoid challenging our own quiet time.
Yeah.
Again, tolerating sometimes that discomfort, because you can. I know this is true for a lot of people. You can sit and read a book, and it can be very quiet, and it almost can become a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah,
that's sort of the absence of some sort of stimulus, but there's I think growth inherent in being able to nurse yourself through that and tolerate it.
You're right. It's personal growth, isn't it? I think you're absolutely right. The next point, which again is important in recovery, is you can prioritise your own schedule. Now, if you're living with someone, you're in a partnership. Sometimes there's going to be calls and demands upon your time elsewhere, which is only natural. That's part of a healthy relationship. Living on your own, it does, especially in recovery, it enables you to just schedule in all your meetings, or whatever your readings you want to do, your big book readings, or whatever you get up to. You can do that. And we know that, most people are much more comfortable when they've got a regime, a schedule that they can work to, a structure.
Is that true, do you think, generally of people in recovery? I mean, I know it's true of you and me, but do you find that what am I trying to ask you? I suppose I'm trying to understand if that is something that people in recovery naturally gravitate towards, or do a lot of people just learn that it's good for them?
They do naturally gravitate. Right. We know in the madness there is no structure.
Oh, right, okay.
It's completely alien. And I find in the rehab that people they crave a structure. Right. So if you do move stuff around, if you move the program around and put something else in, it can throw people completely off, like a routine.
They go straight down the offie.
Well, it's going to make them think that it's just going to throw them off course. And and the first thought in your head is, I don't like this feeling.
I'm going to go and have a drink.
I'm going to go and get this sorted out. Yeah. Having the opportunity to put your own schedule in place, one which you're totally comfortable with and can stick to without anyone else interfering, is great. Pursuing hobbies without compromise. I think that's true with a lot of people, isn't it? Who, if you're on your own, you can do your artwork whenever you like. For example, again, reading books, that's a hobby, isn't it? You can do that without having to compromise that. If you're on your own, rather than someone else not tolerating or deeming your hobby unworthy or time wasting.
Yeah, it kind of raises an interesting question there, doesn't it? About how, I suppose, another aspect of not getting into relationships early in recovery, which is that if that is happening in your relationship, if because you want to make an Airfix model of the Houses of Parliament, yeah, that's right, or build Tutankhamun out of matchsticks,
or Lego.
If you are being prevented from doing that by your partner, that says something else about that relationship. It either says perhaps you're spending too much time doing that and you're neglecting your relationship, or it says that there's some other sort of problem in the balance of your relationship. But whatever's going on there, you can do without those complexities in early recovery, can't you?
You can.
So it's not just that it gives you space to indulge your hobbies. It's more that, that potentially is material for conflict in a relationship, and you don't really want conflict at that point in your recovery, do you?
You need to avoid it, absolutely, because we know where that leads. But it also gives the opportunity to sort of practice self-sufficiency as well. Now, when you're in the madness,
the good life.
A bit, no, not quite that bad. Well, you could embrace it to that extent, that's for sure. But certainly, when you're in the madness, you let a lot of things go. You don't pay the bills. You do nothing. The post comes through the door and it piles up, and you do nothing about it. You just have another drink to forget it. All of a sudden, you go into recovery. You get this opportunity to suddenly be self-sufficient again and start to look after those bits. And there's a real joy in that. Even mundane things that you're dealing with, all of a sudden, it's a bonus. It's a win.
So let me ask you this. Because as you're talking about that, and I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking, Yeah, that feels like a double-edged sword, that one, because what you say makes absolute sense. But I guess there's also potentially an upside in not living alone, in that you are perhaps encouraged to look after those things by someone else. Whereas if you're alone, then you're kind of left to your own devices, aren't you? So, for example, I don't know, eating properly. If you live with someone else, there is perhaps more likelihood that you will eat properly or you won't skip meals. Whereas there must be, when you're kind of living on your own and perhaps it's the first time you felt more balanced and centered for a long time, that it must feel for some people as if that's actually quite a lot to deal with. I've got to eat properly. I've got to, look after my bills. I've got to get some exercise. It's like, oh, this is a bit overwhelming. How do people deal with that when they're first in recovery?
Well, it's strange because that scenario, you often feel that you're being bullied when you are, in inverted commas, encouraged to deal with these matters, especially when you're in the badness. That's the last thing you want to do. So it breeds resentment.
But what about when you stop drinking? You get in recovery. Mm-hmm. It's quite for a lot of people. There must be this sudden sense of, cross. There's a lot to do, isn't there?
Yeah.
To run a life. Mm. There's quite a lot, isn't there?
Absolutely.
And so I wonder how people cope with that in the early days.
A lot of people go into early recovery laden with debt, and will be in a financially poor position, which is why there's a lot of help out there for exactly that situation. But when you do get help and ask for help on that's for sure, from a third party who understands it, it's a great relief. And so there's help to get that back on track.
Oh, so that's the answer then. You'll enlist help as and when required.
Absolutely.
Because if you go to someone who's going to give you debt advice, they're not going to insist on coming and living with you, are they?
No, they're exactly
and stopping you doing your hobbies.
No. Well, you can use people like Christians Against Poverty. Okay, they don't rock up and insist on you doing bits and pieces. No, they'll help you do exactly what you need.
Yeah.
There's other points on this list, like if you live on your own, you don't need to explain yourself. Bit of a tricky one, that, but I suppose that there's an element of freedom attached to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
You can do what you like, and there isn't anyone to nag you or to make you do.
Well, I
something.
suppose in a sense that's the yin to the yang that we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
Whilst there is a lot of expectation and there are a lot of things to think about, and of course you're left to your own devices to do them all, you do also have that kind of flexibility and freedom to just be yourself or do things at your own pace, which is probably a kind of mitigation for that, isn't it?
It is. But leading on from that, it's the avoiding conflict over household preferences is a big one that comes up.
The TV remote, for example.
Exactly that, or even which channel to watch, or how to stack the dishwasher, which I know comes up quite a lot, or even decorating styles. You can living on your own, you've got complete autonomy over that sort of thing, haven't you?
Just don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all. That's even better, isn't it?
Have you got a dishwasher?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, because if you had a dishwasher, you'd be someone who would say there is a right and wrong way to stack a dishwasher, aren't you?
I've had dishwashers in the past, and I do get into a routine as to what goes where. And
yeah. See, that drive me mad. I'll put things in the way I feel like it at the time.
No, that wouldn't suit me. That's for sure.
Do you when you did have a dishwasher, did you put all your cutlery and stuff in alphabetical order?
No, I put them properly upside down so they washed properly and in the.
Well, I mean, everybody does that, don't they?
But I'd put them in the correct. So I'd have all the spoons together and all the forks together, and knives together, and in the little compartments. Yeah.
Would you? Yeah. Life's too short, Martin.
Well, I can see that now. Perhaps. Yeah.
It's a good. I don't think we should live together.
No, that's a good idea. No.
Yeah, I think that would be a disaster.
Thank you. Well, we've sorted that one out, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm not going to rent one of your rooms anytime soon. Yeah, there's some of these other points that go over the same sort of area, really, but using solitude to reflect and grow, which we've already sort of really touched on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then really, it's turning over what I'd said earlier on about having a routine. Another point here is it gives you time to enjoy experimenting with your routine, so you can change it. Yeah, I think most people get into a routine and it settles into one they're comfortable with. But
yeah, I mean, I can see the benefit of that, because going back to, what we've just been talking about, you're not kind of responsible to you're not answerable to anybody else if you do want to make a change, are you? If you decide, well, I'm not going to go swimming on Wednesday morning, I'm going to go on Thursday afternoon, it's kind of, that's probably fair enough. So yeah, it is, I can see the benefit of that.
But it's a bit like us recording this tonight. If there was other people around, it may conflict with something that they're doing, or there'd be something wrong. So, but we have the complete autonomy to put the time in place and do it as and when we want.
Yeah, well, you did anyway, and I just got to go along with it.
I think I ran it past you first, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's caused me untold anxiety, but
did it? Yeah, leaving it from Sunday till Monday.
Yeah. I mean, if I'd had a drink problem, I would probably have had a drink, but
yeah. Just on that basis.
Exactly.
Your routine thrown out.
Yeah.
One you probably relate to as well, that a lot of people that get used to and are happy in their solitude rarely get bored. I think
I mean, we've talked about this, haven't we? When people say I get bored, I think, I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't think that's just a function of your living circumstance. I don't know. I just think there's so much to be interested in, isn't there? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there have been. I'm certain there have been times in my life, certainly when I was younger, that I probably would have said I got bored. And I think we had a right to be bored in the 70s, didn't we? Nothing much happened. But these days, I don't know. I mean, if anything, my problem is overstimulation. It's like it's too much.
Yeah,
give me less. That's what I want. I'd actually quite like to be a bit bored sometimes, I think.
Yeah, you'd need that. Yeah, to be away from social media and to be away from everything that's constantly bombarding you.
Yeah. I don't understand. Well, I do understand boredom, but I think there's something. It kind of says something else, doesn't it, about you, that you're feeling bored? There's something. It kind of feels as if there's a kind of absence of investment in yourself if you're bored. Because you're either bored and you're kind of comfortable with being bored. It's like, I'm not doing anything, it's all right. Or why are you not sufficiently important to invest in a way that enables you to get involved in something else? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh.
No, you're not really. But I mean, boredom is a real enemy of someone with addiction issues. It really is, and because when you put down the drink and the drugs, there's a massive hole in your life, and it is very easy to get bored. But which is why you have to work at it. Which is why time away in a rehab or whatever, in a detox centre in a rehab, is ideal to give you time to reinvest in or to rediscover some of your interests.
Yeah, because you're presumably you're bored in early recovery, aren't you? Or there's a risk of boredom in early recovery because for whatever period you were in the madness of addiction, you dropped everything else in favour of your drug of choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really about, as you say, reconnecting, not necessarily with stuff that you did before, but new interests and building your life up around that space that's been left by Johnny Walker or Smirnoff.
And it's a great opportunity to reinvent yourself and to discover new hobbies. I mean, where I work, the rehab I work at, there's places to do art, pottery, and all that sort of thing. And people woodwork, and people start to discover that a skill that they never knew they had, which is lovely.
I'm still looking for one of those.
Yeah, well, go to a rehab and you'll be fine.
Is that what it takes?
It's quite a harsh way.
Feels like quite a high price to pay, but still.
It's a big price. You've got to ruin yourself with drinking drugs first to give you the opportunity to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, I don't think I'll bother.
No, and I think you're probably right. It's probably the right attitude. But I would just the last real point here was that people often will appreciate the peace and freedom, which sums up really everything we've been talking about. So if you crave a calm and controlled environment to think and to recharge your batteries, you're going to get it in that environment.
You have to learn to embrace peace, don't you?
You do.
And I think that is something that does also come, I think, with age. But I do think that that sort of accepting that space, in whatever form it is, silence or nothing in your agenda or whatever, that does take some getting used to. But it's one of those things that if you are prepared to walk through it, you'll find that on the other side, there's something quite pleasing and rewarding.
Yeah, I remember it. Certainly, when my marriage broke down, and the first time I moved out and lived on my own, it felt really weird not having people around and the noise and everything that's going on. And then suddenly, it was you're going to bed on your own, and there's complete silence and solitude. And I think I did feel a little bit lonely at that point. But again, you work through that emotion and look for the benefits, which is really what I've been trying to look at here. There are benefits to exactly that.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the end really of my notes and the points that I jotted down and looked up when I was putting this together.
Well, good. I'm glad you've got to the end of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's getting a bit tedious.
It's getting late, isn't it? It's almost bedtime. It's gone 7 o'clock.
It has ruined your routine completely, hasn't it?
I have to go and have a nice lie down after this.
Yeah, well, you deserve it, mate. You deserve it. I'm sure you've had a long day at work, as I have.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Still, let's not complain.
No, we're grateful for what we have.
Very, very much so. Is it gratitude now?
Well, I was going to do that, but we normally put the conundrum feature in there, but you just gave me an ideal link, didn't you? But
yeah, well, no, let's stick to our routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just check I've just realised I haven't thought of anything that I'm grateful for this week.
Well, mine was a bit strange, but
Don't worry, I'll think of something in a minute.
Yeah.
Right, conundrum. Here's one for you. It's a seasonal one. How do you feel about that?
I'm all over that.
Right, so here's the question. Is it okay to pretend you're not in when carol singers come to the door collecting for charity?
Yeah, it's your sanctuary, your own home.
So it's okay. So you shouldn't just politely answer the door and refuse to put anything in their tin, or find a couple of old buttons if you haven't got any cash.
I see what you mean. So it's taking the coward's way out just by.
Well, I wondered about that. I wondered if it was, is that kind of, is it all right just to refuse to answer your door?
I suppose carol singers, it's only once a year, or perhaps 2 or 3 times, perhaps during the Christmas period. So no, I think I would always answer.
Would you?
Yeah, but if it's someone that you don't want, say, I don't want to use, say some sort of religious cult that's coming round. All right,
yeah,
or a religious faction that you know that are often knocking on your door. Then I'd probably pretend not to.
What if it's chuggers?
Well, yeah, again, that's tricky, isn't it? You don't know. Often you don't know until you open the door, do you? And then it's too late.
Well, sometimes you can see them wandering along the road, can't you? You think,
can.
I'm going to get a knock soon. What about that? If they're coming round collecting for, I don't know, Save the Children or what?
I think generally it's polite to open the door and say, "This is not for me, but thank you for coming round." Yeah, as I would do to religious people as well.
Right. Yeah, sometimes I'll open the door to religious people, hoping that I'll get involved in a conversation with them.
Yeah, so you can, if you can sort of argue your point, it's a good platform for that, isn't it?
Yeah. See, I have a slightly different view about chuggers. I find it invasive. I don't like my door being knocked on asking me to give to charity. Surely that's about my choice, isn't it?
Yeah,
I can choose. It's not difficult to find and to donate to a charity if I'm choosing to do so. And someone knocking on my door, I find it a bit offensive.
So would you going back to your original point then, would you pretend not to be in, or would you just ask them to politely to?
Well, if I go back to my original point, I'd open the door to carol singers and I'd probably give them something, because I think it's quite nice. It feels to me as if it's one of those traditions which has largely disappeared.
Yeah.
When my kids were small, the church always used to send carol singers along the road, and they'd leave a little bag of sweeties in the letterbox, and they'd wave to the children from under the street light. It was magical. It was really lovely.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't do that anymore. So
No.
I'd be quite pleased to see carol singers. But yeah. Anyway, yes.
Anyway, so I think summing up the conundrum, then we think it's probably it's not okay to pretend to be out to carol singers. Or to anyone.
Well, I wouldn't pretend to be out to carol singers, and I wouldn't pretend to be out to chuggers. But I would tell them, no, I'm not giving. I don't. In fact, what I usually say is, I don't give to anybody at the door.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I often say they can try and run after you in town as well.
Yeah, they can. I hate that.
Yeah.
If there's any chuggers listening,
don't
bother.
Don't do it.
No, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I just say to them, I have my own chosen charities.
Exactly.
That I donate to.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it really.
Good. I'm glad we've got that one sorted.
I think we've got it sorted.
It's made me quite angry.
I can tell. I'm going to come and knock your door just for a laugh. Anyway, your gratitude list then. So have you thought of anything? Because mine sort of changed, and I'll tell you for why. Because I was when I was first putting these notes together, I was grateful. I'd sort of done all my Christmas shopping online. Oh, right. I've done it. It's the first time I've ever done it, and done virtually all of it. I don't think it's one or two bits maybe I need to get, but all on one night, all in. And I was laying in bed doing some of it, and I thought, this is their life.
Wow.
Man. Yeah. So I got, but then eventually one of the parcels all turned up, but one of them had one of the items was broken.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's annoying. So,
see, that wouldn't happen if you were walking around the shops, would it?
I suppose I could drop it, but no, it wouldn't have done. And that's so I was grateful for thinking, hey, do you know what? I've embraced it this year. And then the gratitude slipped somewhat when one of the things turned up broken, and I've got to try and sort that out.
But on balance,
yeah,
you did your Christmas shopping from bed.
I did, yes.
And one item didn't turn out the way. So, I mean, it feels like that's a win.
I still think it's a win. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done my Christmas shopping from bed. I mean, certainly at my desk, sure.
It was quite
not
good
from bed. I mean, that's another level.
It is really, isn't it? Yeah.
Did you have I mean, obviously you wouldn't have a nice glass of ginger wine, obviously, but did you have something nice to? Because I always think your Christmas shopping should be accompanied with something.
I had a cup of tea. Yeah, a cup of tea. I had a cup of tea. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was quite happy with that.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's good. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I've thought of. It's not the most sort of significant piece of gratitude I've ever used, but I was, this time of year, you got to have some tangerines or clementines in the house.
It's traditional, isn't it?
You got to. I mean, I love them anyway, but you certainly got to have them at Christmas.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can't get good clementines and tangerines in the supermarkets. No. They're all shriveled and dry and shite. And so I bought 5 kilos from crowd farming, which I think I've spoken about before. It's like you're paying directly to the farmer, and they send them. And they were late, and I thought, oh, they're not going to turn up, are they? They're not going to. They've been lost in the post. Someone's eating my satsumas. And I opened the door this evening, and there was a big box of clementines sitting there, and they are magnificent.
5 kilos. Will you get through them before they start to turn?
Oh, easy. I'll get through those probably by the middle of next week.
Wow.
Might have to get another box before Christmas. So if you're looking for really high quality clementines, satsumas, I can recommend crowd farming. I'm not being paid by them, but perhaps I should be.
They should sponsor us, really, shouldn't they?
And avocados as well. They're excellent.
Are they?
Yeah. I was a bit disappointed with the pomegranates last year, but that's another story.
It is another story. But but you're grateful for the...
Very grateful for me clementines turning up, and they are absolutely delicious. Money well spent.
Yeah, it sounds like you are pleased with that.
I think I'm pretty sure I ordered them from bed, actually.
Did you? Well, there you go. You know the joys of that now. Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly order. I tend to order my fruit from bed, obviously.
Yeah.
Most discerning customers.
So that's it then, mate. Should we quickly go on to our best-selling singles?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, because
Now then, we've got moving on a year from last week. So it's it's 78, 88, and 98. Okay.
Right, 78.
So we'll start with 78. Who do you reckon?
Can you give me a little clue?
Well, I can. Yes, 1978. In fact, the best-selling single was a double A side.
Okay.
It's by a put-together sort of group, really.
Oh.
I've got a feeling they hailed from Germany initially.
Oh.
But they had a string of top 10 hits. They were quite prolific.
Well, did I like them?
No, I don't think many people did, but apparently you and I perhaps are in the minority because they had the best-selling single of 1978.
1978 put together group. Was it sort of? I don't know. I'm not.
No, there was a guy that used to do funny dances at the front, and the rest were girls singing.
No, this isn't ringing any bells.
Oh, okay, it was. Well, I'll give you the name of the group, and you can work out.
All right.
Tell me. It was Boney M.
Oh, I didn't know they were put together.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Was it Ma Baker?
No.
Oh, was it Brown Girl in the Ring?
Well, that was one of the A sides. Yes.
Oh, okay. And the other one must have been Daddy Cool.
No.
Oh. I mean, I'm going through Boney M's back catalogue.
You are, aren't you? In your head, yeah. I'll put you out of your misery. It was.
Was it by the Rivers of Babylon?
It was.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 5 points for you.
I've got a feeling that might have been Christmas #1 that year.
It probably was because we're coming up to Christmas now, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it may well have been. May well have been.
Boney M, yeah.
Boney M.
Okay. I didn't know they were a put together group.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a bloke dancing at the front, and I don't remember that. I'm going to have to look for that video on YouTube now.
He used to do crazy dances, didn't he, the fella?
I am beginning to remember it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you said crazy dancing with the bloke, I was thinking of Carl Douglas and Kung Fu fighting.
Same sort of. I think it was a bit earlier in the 70s.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Now, in 1988, the best-selling single of the year was in fact a Christmas.
1988, we're doing.
Yeah, 1988. It was a Christmas.
Have we dropped the football now?
Sorry.
Have we dropped the football?
Well, I was going to go back to that, but we can.
Okay, that's fine. No, let's do 88. 88.
So it was a Christmas #1 and the best-selling single of the year.
Is it a Christmas song that's still played now?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, okay. Was it Wham! Last Christmas?
No. It was someone that's a bit more had a bit of a Christian following.
Oh, it's Cliff.
The Cliff.
Mistletoe and Wine?
Mistletoe and Wine, yeah, 1988.
Christmas time, mistletoe and wine. There we
are. He could hold a tune, couldn't he, the lad? So, best-selling single of 1998. So we've done 78, 88 and 98.
Was this a Christmas song?
No, I don't think it's #1 at Christmas.
All right, 98. I'm definitely going to need some help here.
Yeah. It's a solo singer. But she used to be part of a duo.
Right.
And has been around for, probably had hits in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh, bloody hell.
2000s. Yeah.
Oh, Cher.
It is, yes.
Cher. And, go on, which one was it?
Believe.
Oh, God. Well, that's terrible auto-tune, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? Yeah, but there we
go. That. Yeah.
People liked it.
Yeah. Well, they obviously did because it was the best-selling single of 98.
Yeah. So, going back to the footy then.
All right.
1978. Now, this was the first two, 78 and 88. Both teams, I believe, only ever won it once.
That's not going to help me.
78, a little bit of a turn-up, as was the 1988 one. Bit of a turn-up.
78 was...
where the underdogs both got through.
How about if you give me one of the colours that they play in?
The team, well, they both play in sort of a blue.
Oh.
The first one was I'm
going to go 78. I'm going to go 88 first.
Okay.
Was that Sheffield Wednesday?
No.
Oh. I can't even think of any bloody teams that play in blue. They haven't won the FA Cup very often.
Yeah, blue and white they're playing, yeah.
Stripes? Oh, QPR?
No.
Oh.
Blue shirts, white short. They're below West Ham.
Yeah, Ipswich.
Ipswich, yes.
Of course, Ipswich.
Yeah, they beat Arsenal 1-0.
Ipswich, yeah, okay. All right.
So 1988, in fact, they went out of existence.
Oh.
And came back in a different.
Oh, yeah, Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's it.
Wimbledon.
Was it Laurie Sanchez?
They beat Liverpool.
They beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. I'll give you 10 points for that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then 1998.
Manchester United.
No, it's a team that I think they probably won it the most.
Aston Villa. Arsenal, yeah. Who did they beat?
Who did they beat? That's the question.
98, Arsenal beat Grimsby Town.
A similar strip. They beat Newcastle.
Oh, Newcastle.
Yeah. I'll give you 5 for Arsenal anyway. So there we are.
Oh, that's very good. I didn't do very well there, did I? I'm going to blame the lateness of hour.
It is the lateness. I think we're both tired, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, in the morning, my brain's sharp. I can recall these facts.
Yeah.
I'm still kicking myself that I didn't get Boney M, but still.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, again, it's tricky, isn't it? Because it could be any group.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and there's quite a lot of groups, aren't there?
There are a lot of groups.
Yeah. And a lot of football teams.
Yeah. I think you did all right. You did reasonably okay.
Yeah, don't patronise me.
I'm trying to shore you up emotionally. You want to go back to living on your own now, don't you? You want to turn this camera off and have a bit of solitude.
Go and sit on the sofa. Watch a Christmas cooking programme.
Oh, yeah. There's probably plenty of those on, no doubt.
Yeah, there are, yeah. All right.
Okay, mate.
See you next time.
See you later.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.